Welcome to 5678, a movie musical podcast, where two best friends, separated by geography but united in their love for musical theater, review and recap movie musicals. Each episode we will dissect a new movie musical, ranging from the 1930s all the way up to today, all the while giggling, snorting, and generally being absolute dunces. So powder those noses and tape down those boobs. We're about to start rolling.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Maria.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music of the
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about this.
Now, I did not hate this movie.
Oh no, Grace!
I didn't like it,
Yeah, okay.
but I didn't hate it.
Alright, well, first things first. Hello, and welcome to
Hello.
5678, a movie musical podcast. We are your chaotic co-hosts. I am Anna,
I am Grace.
and we are so excited to have you here today for Season 1, Episode 7?
Question mark? Maybe. Probably.
The 1973 film, Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh boy.
Wow, it was so bizarre in like a very different way than Babes in Toyland was, but I was equally baffled, but like from different emotions.
From different parts of me. Before we dive into this, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. If you are old friends, welcome back. We are available for streaming on now essentially all podcast platforms.
Yay!
And we're so happy you're here. We would greatly appreciate any reviews, any stars that push us through the algorithm onto the pages of people who aren't our immediate friends and family.
Indeed.
And without further ado, let's dive into this. I do want to preface this whole episode by saying I am not particularly religious. I spent a couple years at an Episcopal school, but I grew up in a non-denominational household. I do not have any real Christian background coming into this very religious film.
And same with me. I was raised in a non-religious household, though my dad had full, perfect attendance for all 12 or 13 years of the Sunday school that he went to. So I had questions and I went to him afterwards.
Oh, great. I had no one to go to.
Oh no. I was like, did Jesus say this?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Now, I didn't have any experience with this musical beforehand. I didn't even know any of the songs, where normally I know at least one of them.
I will say we both know who Andrew Lloyd Webber is. We have a familiarity
Yes!
with his work. So it wasn't like completely new. And during this, I was like, this feels like a melody that is familiar to me, maybe in a different key than I'm used to. But
Yes.
I got like hints of
There was a
other
lot
works.
of talk about them stealing music from old shows for this particular show, which was really interesting.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about that. Also, I have never seen this film. I've never seen a live stage production of this. I have seen like 98% of the 2018 Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert with John Legend, Brandon Victor Dixon, Sarah Bareilles. And I will say that production ruined this film for me because I have seen Norm Lewis as Caiaphas, and I can't accept anyone else.
I'm curious to talk to you about that because I did not watch that because I stopped watching the live production things because I was normally disappointed. And I'm curious how it compares with my main gripe for this. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go through the plot.
We are. First off, this is available for rent on Amazon and YouTube and a couple other places for like $3, which is how I watched it. It's somehow rated G.
Huh. I have questions, and we'll get to those. Okay, so we open in the desert.
We will be in the desert for the rest of this film.
Whole time, we open and we stay in the desert. Now, this was actually filmed in Israel, so the entire thing is like in the sort of the deserts, canyons of Israel. And we start strong with some electric guitar.
Oh,
man.
So you know what goes really well with like biblical ruins? Electric guitar. Oh, I was confused from the get-go.
I was too, because again, it's Jesus Christ Superstar, so I know that it's going to be telling the story of Jesus leading up to the crucifixion, and then suddenly we see some very modern-looking scaffolding, and I'm like...
Metal iron bar scaffolding.
Huh. And I'm like, is this a mistake? Did they, like, not mean to do that? And then a bus appears, and I'm like, oh, no. Cool. We're, like, meant to be there. Okay.
Like a 1970s classic, I don't know if it was a VW bus, but it was a modern day bus, comes through the desert. Yeah. And people get out of the bus and they are in bell bottoms. We are in the 70s and we really stay in the 70s.
Hold on.
And they get out of the van and they climb onto the roof and there's all these boxes and they unstrap them and they take off a tarp.
They're distributing pots. They're distributing swords.
Guns.
It's very eclectic. Jonah Hill is there.
It's not Jonah Hill. Don't confuse people.
110% Jonah Hill.
It's not. That actor's had like a very long career. Justice for that actor. But these people start dressing up. They start putting on costumes. So we get the sense of like, oh, might be a play within a film kind of a setup.
Right.
And it starts, all right, because this is a visual medium, I want to preface this because I want the listener to understand what I experienced, which is there are so many dramatic zooms in this film.
Oh,
zooms in,
close-ups.
Zooms out. And it really starts, we like get our main characters through zooms.
So it starts with a guy in a pink shirt leaving the group that is sort of partying and clapping and surrounding another guy who looks suspiciously like Jesus.
It's like a circle dance around some main characters.
And they have like this bit of circle choreography.
Lots of hands, lots of like jazz hands.
And then suddenly Jesus appears, and it's a white guy with a scraggly beard that looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
You're not wrong.
He didn't act like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but the first moment that he appeared, I'm like, could be.
We pan to the man who left the group in his brightly colored pink shirt, sitting alone on a very painful looking rock and brooding. And he's in a red toned shirt, unbuttoned completely.
There are no buttons.
There are no buttons, only laces. Everyone else remains in pretty neutral creams, whites, and light browns, beiges. So he definitely stands out. And he starts to sing the song Heaven on Their Minds. We learn that this is Judas, important character.
Yes.
And the song is, he's worried about Jesus's popularity. Jesus is being hailed as the Son of God, and he fears the consequences of this, like, growing movement. And he tells us this by stomping around the desert.
Oh, man.
With very poor posture.
Yeah, he's always crouched over in some sort of fashion and throwing his arms behind him.
Oh, all right, dear listener, Grace and I don't know a lot about many things.
Correct.
But we did both go to acting school. And we both was drilled into us, like, proper posture, especially when singing. And this man who played Judas's posture, not just in the scene, for the entire rest of this film, whenever he is singing, pretty much fully bent forward towards the camera at a 90-degree angle and, like, arms gesticulating, like, no elbows were used, just, like, straight arms forwards and backwards, frequently looking like an anime character running, just arms back.
Yes, that's the one. And he does some aggressive indication acting of just, like, going down and giving the thumbs down sign and, like, crumbling, and then he, like, crumbles a rock. It was very bizarre. But some of the lines are good. You've begun to matter more than the things you say. And that's sort of the entire theme of the song, is that he's afraid that the concept of Jesus is becoming bigger than the concept of the truth that Jesus is trying to preach.
The song ends, we see Jesus in a clapping circle surrounded by, like, these adoring followers. And Judas is singing how Jesus isn't listening to him. And Judas is just a screaming man in the desert at this point, like, far away watching this happen. Like, I wouldn't listen to a screaming man in the desert. Ugh.
No.
Starts off strong.
I wouldn't listen to a screaming man anywhere.
Anywhere. Cut to some soldiers in purple tank tops with spears. Oh, the costumes.
And the camera pans to like an underground cave party.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts with the song, What's the Buzz? And the disciples are wanting to know and are asking Jesus pretty aggressively what the next steps are and what they're going to do.
Yeah, like, what are his plans?
And Jesus is like, y'all need to chill.
Oh, man. There is some excellent ensemble acting and dancing in this number.
Yes. It feels like community theater choreography, I'm gonna say. This song in particular.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? It's like, turn to your neighbor. What's the buzz? Turn to your other neighbor. Like,
and like a lot of reaching on tempo. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. We see the soldiers marching overhead, and then we like pan down through this hole in the ground. So like, this is like Jesus's lair. Like, they're hiding from the guards.
It's his bat cave. So Jesus tells all of his disciples to calm down and to worry about today and not what's going to happen tomorrow. And then we see a woman come in, and this is Mary. She comes in to cool down his face with a washcloth because he's sweaty, which apparently was a theme on this shooting set. Everyone had to hydrate a lot because they literally filmed in the desert. And then Judas comes in and is immediately judgy.
Yeah.
He sees Mary washing Jesus' feet, and Judas is like, hanging around with her is gonna ruin your cause because she's a prostitute.
Yeah, he never explicitly calls her a prostitute. He calls her women of her kind.
Yeah, and he says, I don't judge her profession, and like, the profession is code for, prostitute.
There's a great moment of ensemble acting. One of Jesus' followers, just when Judas starts to come in and be a moody party pooper, this ensemble goes, hey, cool it, man.
I noticed that too.
I will say, like, Mary's treatment of Jesus with the washcloth, it's a tender moment, and I could see Judas like reading between the lines and like making it sexual, but there's nothing explicitly sexual about Mary's treatment of Jesus.
Now my question is, does this Jesus, this actor, have a lazy eye?
I have a note about this right now, because this is the first time we've seen Jesus. All right. This actor who played Jesus, Ted Neeley, went on to play him in like arena tours and
all the things.
Other things. Like, this man, people loved this man as Jesus. So I don't want to like come in here super hot, but oh my God, I thought his acting was terrible.
He got an award for worst acting for this movie.
I was ruined by the acting in the 2018 concert. Now I'm just like wanting good acting.
Well, it's John Legend. I mean,
John Legend did better than this guy. I also Googled. I was like, does Ted Neeley have I don't know the medical term for it, but the colloquial term of, does he have a lazy eye? And there's no articles about it. I read several really mean reviews that talked about it, but there's no confirmation, but he seems to have a lazy eye.
Mm-hmm.
His acting is all pointing, more bad posture. We haven't gotten to his real talent of singing yet, so I was very unsure of how this film would go at this point. But Jesus tells Judas to leave Mary alone. He kind of calls him out. Mm-hmm. Judas doesn't reply. So Jesus takes that and walks out, and his horde of followers follow him. And they're like, hey, Jesus, what are we doing today? And Jesus turns around and he scolds his followers. He says, they don't care about him. Doesn't sell them what they do care about.
Nobody likes me.
Oh, man.
So we cut to a guy in a pointy Pope hat going into the ruins.
His hat looks like those Russian buildings.
Yeah!
The Kremlin?
No.
His hat looks like a Kremlin top.
Is it the Kremlin?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, please do.
I could have sworn it was.
It's in the Red Square, but I don't know what the building is called.
It's not the Kremlin. It's not the Kremlin. Look, it's definitely St. Basil's Cathedral. Look, it looks like meringues.
That's very true. So
Anyway.
the first one, though, is much taller than the second one.
Yeah.
So the guy with the tall Pope hat comes in and starts talking to a bare-chested priest with like a leather harness and like a square centerpiece with
no
like
shirt,
a bulbous hat. And that guy looks like Russell Brand.
He does. I didn't think of that because I was so concerned by everything that followed. The man with the meringue hat is Caiaphas.
Uh-huh.
The man with the pointier hat who just came in is Annas.
Annas, yeah. A-N-N-A-S.
Great. It's Anna with an S. Together they sing the song Then We Are Decided. And we didn't say this before. A lot of these songs, dear listener, if you have listened to Phantom of the Opera or any other Andrew Lloyd Webber shows, then you are familiar with his frequent use of talk singing. Not in the Professor Hill kind of way, but like a we are going to be discussing this song and it's going to have a pitch.
It's an operetta. Everything is sung.
It is an
including
operetta.
Like just basic back and forth dialogue.
Yeah. And they are worried, the song is that they are worried that the people will crown Jesus as king, which the Romans will take as an uprising.
And Annas is trying to calm Caiaphas down. He says that Jesus is just a fad.
Just a phase.
He's just a phase! And Caiaphas says, no, he could divide us, and that would be bad. And by us, he means, like, the council. And so Annas says that he should go and talk to the council and scare them into making a decision to do something about Jesus.
Grace, now that you've seen this movie, I want you to imagine Norm Lewis as Caiaphas.
Ugh, that
Caiaphas
voice, though.
is a baritone, and Norm Lewis ate
Bass,
that shit
almost.
up. He was so good, and he made it seem so effortless. Whereas this actor, I wasn't super
it felt
impressed.
like it hurt.
And the thing is, he played this role on Broadway.
On Broadway. I know.
The Broadway.
Imagine Patrick Page as this role.
Oh, full body chills. Both would be great.
Anyway.
Annas takes Caiaphas' decision and he runs back up the steps with his cape billowing behind him. No shirt,
Love a
capes,
good
and
billow.
decorative harnesses only.
And hats. Do not forget the hats.
And hats. Cannot forget the hats. Back in the Jesus cave, it's later. Mary sings Everything's All Right, and the ensemble joins in later. And it's kind of like a settling in for the night song.
Yeah, and trying to sort of soothe Jesus to sleep with incense and oil. And Judas is judgy again. Now, this time I'm on Judas's side.
That's Judas makes a fair argument. Judas is lurking in the corner as per usual.
Gotta learn.
And he says Mary says, like, one of the lyrics is something about expensive ointment.
Yeah. For
For Jesus's feet and for his brow. I think it's myrrh or one of the. If I said that with confidence, you would believe me. But Judas says that they shouldn't be spending such money on such expensive ointments. That money should be given to the poor rather than wasted on Judas.
Fair.
He calls Mary a frivolous woman.
Wasted on Jesus.
Did I say Jesus? I'm sorry, I meant Jesus.
Yeah.
And he said,
no worries.
poor people matter more than Jesus's feet.
And then Jesus replies, there will always be poor people, but I won't be here forever, so I'ma use this expensive oil. Now, this is when I had to go and ask my dad, who knows more about religion than I do.
What did Will
being
say?
Like, was that a thing that Jesus ever said? And my dad was like, no.
Doesn't feel like.
So I don't know why this was added. It was so out of character for like the concept of Jesus that I have been
Maybe it was
walking
coming from
around
a place of like, I hear your argument, Judas. There will always be poor people. But doing this, my followers doing this for me makes them feel good. And who am I to deny that?
I did not get that as the message.
I'm not saying that's the message. I'm saying that as an argument that could be made.
Fair.
This is the first time we truly get a feel for the actor that plays Jesus's singing range. He's got this, I don't remember the lyric, he's got this crazy high note where he sings the word gone. I think he's telling Judas to get gone, or when I am gone. And it's like super high. And I'm like, oh, okay. get it.
Yeah. Like, you actually have, like, a talented voice. It's just when the camera's close up on you, you have no emotion.
No expression.
All of the followers come back around and they do the final sort of singing of this song, Everything's All Right, and go to sleep. And there's some prolonged eye contact between Jesus and Judas. And cut to priests on scaffolding. So the scaffolding that we saw earlier is sort of like where the priests live. They just hang out there. It felt very like Cell Block Tango to me.
I called them Spooky Priest Council for the entire film.
Yeah, you're not incorrect.
And they hang out on this scaffolding.
And they bang it with their rings.
Yeah, for dramatic effect. It's never explicitly said up until maybe later, but they are at the Temple of Jerusalem.
Yes.
This is, like, where the scaffolding is the Temple of Jerusalem. And the Spooky Priest Council is there for Caiaphas. And he sings, parenthetical, he sings that they know what their problem is. And as he's singing, we get a wide shot of Jesus and his followers approaching the Temple of Jerusalem. And they are singing a different song. They are
on
singing
a live donkey.
Yeah, we got a donkey. How many donkeys can we get? They are singing the song Hosanna. Mm-hmm. So we have these two songs juxtaposed. The Spooky Priest Council with Caiaphas and Annas are singing that, like, Jesus is dangerous, while his followers are calling him Jesus Christ Superstar. If you know any song from this movie, that is the tune that you know.
Yeah. So then Caiaphas convinces the council that the best way to sort of prevent a riot or anything like that is to have Jesus murdered. But they can't do it.
Yes, the council the Spooky Priest Council can't do it.
Yeah.
Caiaphas says that, like John the Baptist, Jesus must be executed for the sake of the nation. Now, I wrote down many lyrics in this show, but this first one killed me.
Uh-huh.
And it's Annas singing, "What then to do about Jesus of Nazareth? Miracle Wonder Man, hero of fools." One of the priests goes, "No riots, no army, no fighting, no slogans." Caiaphas says, and imagine this in like a deep baritone bass, he goes, "One thing I'll say for him, Jesus is cool." I lost my goddamn mind at and it was like dead serious.
Okay, so serious. Speaking of lyrics, so the followers that are following him are also singing things, and one of them
Hosanna.
is JC, "You're All Right by Me."
I wrote that
so
down
just
too!
The fact that his followers call him JC.
And like Caiaphas is interjecting those lyrics, but he's calling them a curse and a menace. And they're like, "You're all right by me, JC."
Yeah.
When Jesus does join in and sing with his followers, he doesn't sing Superstar. He just sings Hosanna. There's no like, he's not like patting himself on the back.
And this is the first time we see him smile. He has a really nice smile.
He does. Quick side note for other non-denominational listeners. I just looked it up. I was like, what does Hosanna mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's an exclamation, especially biblical, Judaic, and Christian in use, used to express adoration, praise, or joy. It's like hallelujah.
Oh, okay.
It's similar to hallelujah.
So at this point, Caiaphas tells down to Jesus and tells him to make the crowd disperse. And Jesus said, "Even if you quieted our voices, the rocks and stones would sing up for me."
Mm-hmm.
And then, Jesus speaks to his followers saying, "Don't just sing for me, but sing for yourselves." And then they sing, "Hey, JC, would you die for me?" And I'm like, ominous. Very, very
you know
ominous.
why it was ominous? Because we got a freeze frame of his expression when they sang that. Like,
yeah.
It made me think of those, like, record scratch. Like, bet you're wondering how I got here. It felt like that. But yeah. They
That's
sing,
completely
"Hey,
accurate.
JC,
yes.
JC, won't you die for me?" And we are not making this up. There was a freeze frame of him, like, processing that lyric. And, like, feeling the weight of that.
Yes. Cut to backflips and front walkovers.
Oh my God. Different desert. Same desert, actually. Just not the Temple of Jerusalem. Grace, I do want you to know, I hadn't done like my dramaturgical work before I watched this part of the movie. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, obviously this is a desert. I don't know where they filmed this, but I'm imagining there were like the landscape is beautiful. It is craggy and it is like there are just desert for miles.
Stark.
And suddenly I was imagining that they filmed this where they filmed Mad Max Fury Road with the electric guitars. I was like, imagine if just one of those rigs came out of the distance.
Excellent thought project.
Excellent mind meld. But yes, we are in the desert still, and suddenly people are dancing and doing flips, and they're running over the camera, and we get this big desert dance break.
It's a fun dance break. I enjoyed watching this dance break. So this is Simon and his zealots, and they dance in a huge circle around Jesus and are worshiping him. And Simon asks if Jesus will help them take back their country from the Romans. Now, they are currently surrounded by Roman guards, so, why would you plan this rebellion right now?
And what's funny is it is a fantastic dance break. BFAs as far as the eye can see.
Dance majors. They
must have gotten so sunburnt doing this shot.
Well, the guy who played Simon almost fainted at the end of this.
Yeah, I understand, because they're going full out.
Oh, it is hard dancing. Like, not difficult moves, but just, like, exuberant.
Yeah, but also, like, and not, like, technically difficult moves, but, like, jumping. Lots of jumping.
Yeah.
And Jesus is watching all of this just, like, kind of, okay, kind of an expression on his face.
Well, there's some slow-mo dancing that also happens, and, like, some jumps off of a thing in slow motion.
Freeze frames.
And freeze frames. It gives me very, like, opening of chorus line vibes of just, like, that style of dancing. And Judas is watching all of this and is very concerned.
Judas is there suddenly, and he's, like, watching all this with this disbelief, and just like, what the frick is all this?
Jesus isn't really feeling this plan, and he says that you've misunderstood my purpose.
The song culminates in everyone bowing to Jesus, and Jesus sees Judas looking over at this, looking pretty concerned. Jesus sings to the crowd. He sings a song, Poor Jerusalem. The gist is, like, you don't understand what power and glory are. You don't understand. And he seems worried that Simon suggests the crowd leading an uprising against the Romans.
Yeah.
And Jesus is so mopey, and Simon just doesn't get it.
He's so confused. There's a really extreme close-up on his face that's just confusion.
He did that. He literally does that, like, dog chin tilt of, like, huh? As the camera lands on him. We leave this desert and go to a different desert, and we get a new character. We get Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea.
Indeed.
He looks like a Beatles reject.
Yeah.
And he's wearing velvet in the desert.
But he has this fantastic opal ring, this giant opal ring that I very much would like to own.
He sings the song Pilate's Dream, and the song is that he dreamed about a Galilean man, and that he, Pilate, will be blamed for this man's death. He doesn't know it's Jesus yet.
He says that he sees thousands of people hating this man, thousands of people mourning him, and then thousands of people blaming him for that man's death. Mm-hmm. And then a lady comes and gives him a headband.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he get not a headband. He gets a crown, you dingus.
It's open on one end.
A golden.
Just because he wears it incorrectly does not make it a headband.
That's a thing. That's like a very. What are you talking about? Like those kinds of crowns. Like I don't know the proper word for them, but like that he wasn't wearing it wrong. That's like a very It's a. It's a very well-documented kind of, like, headdressing crown. I'm so angry at you right now.
And I'm fucking with you.
Okay, good. Jesus Christ. There's no way you, of all people, hadn't seen one of those.
Are you shitting me? I fucking love learning about the Roman Empire. Of course I know what they are, but it was very funny to see her.
Anyway, We blur to a rock wall and it pans up. We are back at the Temple of Jerusalem, and we know it's a Temple of Jerusalem because we have the creepy priest scaffolding on one end.
Yeah.
We see that the temple has kind of become overrun. It is now a market. There are sheep and camels and people selling their wares.
And postcards and drugs and grapes and prostitutes and grenades.
Yeah, and it's like a come see the wares song.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the opening of Beauty and the Beast or like the Lovely Ladies song from Les Mis.
Jesus shows up and starts breaking everything.
Jesus smash!
And I'm like, will you be paying for this merchandise, Jesus? The shit that, like, is easy to just put back. Just put the postcard stand back up, put the grapes back in the box. But then he breaks mirrors and the glassware. I'm like, Jesus?
If you will remember from Kiss Me Kate, when Kate destroys a tavern, it's very much that energy.
Same energy. Yeah, same energy.
And the reason Jesus is so angry is because he's angry that, like, this temple should be a house of prayer, is the lyric.
Yeah.
And he's angry that it's been desecrated by chickens and and industry.
Yeah. And he yells at everyone to get out.
He doesn't yell, he rock screlts at them.
Fair enough. And Judas is shocked.
And everyone leaves and runs away screaming, except for his followers.
Cut to Desert Canyon. Jesus is walking alone.
Moping.
He starts singing that his time is almost up.
Yeah, Jesus is worried what he hasn't accomplished yet. He keeps referencing that he's been on this journey for 3 years.
Feels like 30, yeah.
Anyway, surprise, out of the rocks come these rock and roll lepers. They want Jesus to heal them, and he tries to touch them all, but he gets overwhelmed. There's too many of you, he sings.
Too many!
And he gets swallowed by this mob of lepers.
Yeah, he, like, yells, "Leave me alone!"
That's a lyric change. In the show, I believe it's much kinder. It's like, "Let me heal you all," as he gets swallowed by this mob.
No, it says, it's worse, actually. The original lyric is "heal yourselves."
Oh. We see him next at sunset. We see him with Mary. They are alone. She kind of comforts him. She puts a scarf around him, again, soothing him. She sings a reprise of "Everything's All Right," and she, like, leads him into a tent, and he falls asleep, and she leaves him to sleep and rest. Based on where the sun is when in this shot, like, they clearly shot this during the day, but they're like, well, we'll hide the sun behind a tent, and it'll look like it's night.
It'll be fine.
I could spend an entire podcast talking about sun continuity. I'm not gonna do it.
I don't think that, I mean, considering
understand.
it's not a visual medium.
I understand that they shot this in the desert, and, like, there's nowhere to hide from the sun, but, like, the sun continuity is non-existent in this film.
Yep.
Anyway.
So, this reprise transitions to the song "I Don't Know How to Love Him," which was a huge pop hit in the 1970s and, like, reached the top charts, etc.
The gist is that Mary loves Jesus, but she's confused because he is so unlike any other man that she's ever met. She sings this out into, like, the night sky at God, ?
God.
She's better at lip syncing than pretty much everyone else in this film.
Yes, very much so. Well, and it's also nice to have, like, the only female person in this movie be a mezzo-soprano.
Yeah.
Justice for mezzos.
Justice for mezzos. This song takes us into, you guessed it, dear listener, another desert.
But this time, plus tanks. And yes, tanks.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's Judas in this desert alone. And he's crouching in the desert sad while this guitar wails. And then on the horizon, tanks!
Like 5 of them. Judas gets scared and runs
And
away.
the music transitions to, like, a very light classical music. This was the moment where I said, what is this fucking movie?
And it's never discussed or talked about, and I was so confused.
No, but the tanks never come back.
No.
Actually, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. The tanks are in the next shot. The tanks are coming still in the next shot.
It's still coming.
I take that back. But yeah, Judas runs to the creepy temple priests.
Yes, and Judas tells them that Jesus has lost control of the movement, and Caiaphas and Annas say that they will pay Judas for information about Jesus' location so they can arrest him and take him to the Romans.
They just need the info. They have the papers to arrest him. They just need to know where he is, and they'll pay Judas to tell them.
Right. And he turns down their blood money, but then the priests are like, think of all that you can do with this money. You can help the poor. You can donate to charities. And I'm like, fair. And so he decides to take it, and he tells them where Jesus will be.
Yes, he says Jesus will be at the Garden of Gethsemane on Thursday night.
Indeed.
And then Judas is back in the desert. He's left the priests. And then these two fighter jets fly overhead, and Judas kind of falls to the ground and is scared. This is my trivia, but I'm going to say it now. That was not planned. Those fighter jets are just part of the Israeli army, and they flew overhead, and that is a legitimate fall to the ground because he was scared.
Well, that happened because there was also a day where all of the electricians disappeared because there was a skirmish, and they were all in the army, and they had to go and fight, and then they came back victorious 2 days later. Like, this is just
production was
shit
just
that
halted.
happens. They were just like, I guess we have to wait.
This takes us to the Garden of Gethsemane. Am I saying that right?
I don't know, but you're
Okay.
saying it better than I could, so cheers.
Gethsemane.
Yeah, why not?
Apologies to our listeners. And it is implied that this is the Last Supper.
Because they all sit on one side of a very long blanket.
Yes, the Last Supper was a picnic.
And they're very much in the pose of the Last Supper painting by Da Vinci.
Well, they hold it for a split second. They like settle in, then they're very Sunday in the Park with George, where like they hold the position of the painting and then they like pop back into life, just like that. But the Last Supper by Da Vinci.
Exactly.
Oh, the ensemble acting in this song is phenomenal.
Chef's kiss. Love it. So Jesus starts singing that no one cares about him. This is a theme. And he introduces the concept of this sacrament, I think it is. Is that correct? Like this bread is my body and this blood is my blood.
Wine.
Nope,
this wine is my blood.
That's the one.
This blood is not my wine.
The bread of God is bread.
Yeah. There's a shot of Judas during this, and Judas is so grossed out by this concept. Okay, Jesus has a minor freak out. And he says, like, why am I doing this? None of you will remember me. Like 2 days after I'm gone, and he says, one of you will deny me 3 times, and one of you will betray me. And immediately
he calls out the
everyone
guy
starts
who's gonna deny him. He's like, Peter, that's you.
Yes.
You're gonna deny me. And then he's like, but someone, and I'm gonna be coy about it, is gonna betray me.
Everyone immediately starts to protest and ensemble act. They're like, no, not me, Jesus. Never me, Jesus. Judas and Jesus get into it. They yell / rock screlt at each other.
Well, and Judas has the best line where he says, cut the dramatics. And I am like, that's also fair.
Yeah. And Judas storms off. Judas has already betrayed Jesus at this point, so just like racked with guilt. But he storms off. Gethsemane is actually this like beautiful olive grove with green grass. It's very much a contrast to the desert that we have seen. But Judas walks off and Jesus follows him because Judas forgot his cloak. But he doesn't forgive Judas and he says, get out, they're waiting. And it's this big note, but the acting, it's a close-up and it
doesn't
just
hit.
Emotion is there in the voice. It does not reach his eyes.
No.
And Judas runs away through a flock of sheep. Jesus watches him go.
That was very silly. I was worried he was going to trip and fall and like go under this herd of
I wonder if that
trampling
was
sheep.
intentional or not.
I have no clue.
Because at first he runs off kind of like and is in the middle of the sheep, and then the next shot he's running, and clearly he runs faster than the sheep, but it looks like the sheep are chasing him.
It does.
Very. If that was intentional, like reference of like Jesus's flock, then that's
maybe
we'll call it meaningful, but I don't think that was the intention.
I don't think so either. Cut to nighttime and Jesus is the last one awake at a sleepover.
Oh, that got me. minute, sleepover. Another thing that they clearly shot during the day and then just like changed it
The tone
to make it
exactly.
look like nighttime.
Yep, and he's like, will no one spend this time with me? And then he just walks further away into the desert. And he sings to God that he's afraid to die, but eventually sort of works his way to going through with it as long as God watches. And then there's a lot of close-ups of paintings of the crucifixion.
Yes, like the big emotional crux of this song, he has a big rock screlt of like, see how I'll die, and on the instrumental of guitar, she's like, no. We get, that's exactly what it sounds like, by the way. That was actually an audio clip I just played. We get very quick in succession, zoomed in close-ups of Renaissance paintings of the crucifixion, close-up on Jesus's anguished face, very intense.
Yes.
This is the song Gethsemane, parenthetical, I only want to say. Again, if you are familiar in any way, shape, or form with this musical, you probably recognize this song.
Yes.
And the instrumental of this song comes up a lot later in the film. But yeah. Jesus agrees to go forward with God's plan. Cut to later, Peter, who hasn't denied Jesus yet but will, wakes up with the other apostles, and they are, surprise, held at trident point by Roman guards.
Oh, wait, we missed right before this, Judas comes back, and he kisses Jesus on the cheek, and Jesus says, will you betray me with a kiss?
Yes. He does. Anyway, Judas's guards and Judas have shown up. They have captured Jesus, and Jesus is led back up out of Gethsemane through the desert by the guards, and his followers crowd around the guards, like trying to talk to Jesus.
It's like a mob of reporters.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't feel like they're his followers anymore. It feels like they're random
It like
people.
morphs from his followers. Yeah, when you see a stage production of this, sometimes they will be reporters with actual microphones. In this film, they were just holding their hands like they were holding invisible microphones to Jesus.
It's all miming.
This is the song, The Arrest. The lyrics are like, Jesus, do you regret what you did? Would you do anything different? Why are you doing this? Like, they're interviewing him. Jesus is taken to Caiaphas's house. And it's one of the lyrics is like, we're going to take you to Caiaphas. You'll just love the high priest's house. His house is just ruins. It's not a house.
Yep, definitely just behind the scaffolding. The rhyming in this movie and in this
You want to take it up with Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Was suspect.
Be my guest.
No, this would be Tim Rice, because he wrote the lyrics, but he's also a legend, and I'll talk about him later.
Oh, here I am slandering Andrew Lloyd Webber.
So Caiaphas decides to send him to Pilate and the Romans because the priests can't do like a death penalty sort of thing. They have to go to the Romans for that because the Romans are in charge of the area at this point.
But first, before Caiaphas sends him to Pilate, we have the first of what it will be 3 trials, essentially, and the repeated theme is Jesus being interviewed and prosecuted by Caiaphas and later others of like, why do you call yourself the Son of God?
Are you really the King of the Jews?
Yeah, and Jesus consistently says, no, that is what you call me. That is what you say. He never claims that title, and it's very frustrating because, like, Caiaphas can't charge him with any serious crimes. So he's like, I'm going to send you to Pilate, and Pilate will deal with you. So they take Jesus to Pontius Pilate's house.
Yes. Now, before he gets to Pilate's house, Peter, Mary, and one other disciple stop for water. And someone there recognizes Peter and asks if he's a follower of that guy who's on trial. And he's like, wasn't me. And then a Roman guard was like, no, I'm pretty sure I saw you. And he's like, wasn't me. And then another random guy asks and says, wasn't me. So that's his 3 times denial. And Mary, pulls him aside and sort of accuses him of betrayal. And like, this is just what Jesus said you would do. And then they all walk off together.
Cut to the most bored-looking purple tank top guards are standing on cliffs as Jesus is taken to Pilate with like a curious crowd following behind him. Pilate is there with his big-ass flowing robe.
And that big-ass ring.
Yeah, this is the song Pilate and Christ. And Pilate mocks Jesus. And he doesn't realize that Jesus is the man from his dream.
Right.
And again, he says, "Are you king of the Jews?" And Jesus says, "Your words, not mine."
Yep.
And Pilate says, "I don't deal with Jews. I'm going to send you to King Herod." The lyric is, "Your Herod's race, your Herod's case."
Cut to extreme close-up of a hippie Jonah Hill with very small, square, yellow sunglasses. Now, what's interesting is, originally, in the stage play, Herod is played by a drag queen, but they decided that was too much for movie audiences in 1973, and they decided that this man was better.
Whereas the first time I saw this, Alice Cooper plays King Herod.
Yes.
Very different take than the movie King Herod.
Yeah.
We actually get a dance break.
So this sort of dance break, think of like Rich Man's Frug in Sweet Charity, of just like rich people clumping and like moving in beat.
And Herod is excited to finally meet this Jesus character, like to see what the hype is all
He's
about.
heard a lot about him.
Yeah, he asked Jesus like to perform miracles, like walk on this water, turn my water into wine. And when Jesus doesn't, Herod kicks him out and calls him a
Gets
phony,
mad.
and he throws a bagel at him.
Don't forget there's time steps in here somewhere. Like, okay, so this song is
Yeah.
so light and bouncy that it feels out of...
Oh, it's so out of place.
It's a fun dance number, and I enjoyed watching this dance number. It was very silly, but it felt completely anachronistic with the tone that they had built up to now.
And the guards, after Herod throws the bagel at Jesus and, like, yells at him to leave, the guards are way more scared of Herod than Jesus is. And, like, the guards drag Jesus away. Cut to, we see Mary with a captive Jesus, and she sings the song, "Could We Start Again, Please?" And she wishes things with Jesus hadn't gotten so extreme.
And she says that she's starting to lose faith that Jesus will escape this. And then Peter sings and, asks Jesus not to die, and all the disciples join in at the song.
Yeah, suddenly all the disciples are there. This takes us to the guards throwing Jesus into a pit.
Jail, cell,
Like a pit in the desert.
unclear.
And Jesus sees Judas arguing with the guards, but they, like, push him away. Judas runs back to the priests and sings what becomes the song Judas' Death.
Yes.
And Judas is racked with guilt and regret. He throws his money at the priests, and again, this fucking body language of bent over, arms back, like, agony!
Caiaphas and Annas try and sort of convince him that he's done a good job and that he should be proud of his actions, but Judas says that he will be blamed for Jesus' death, and he sort of sings to God and asks why this had to happen and why this was God's plan for him, and then he runs into the desert and kills himself. This moment was so uncomfortable for me, of him hanging himself from the tree. And just the long-held shot visual of a black man hanging from a tree was very uncomfortable to watch, and it felt like it wasn't taking history into context. And I know that this is the story, this is what Judas does, but I felt like it could have been filmed in a way where it wasn't triggering.
Yeah.
It pulled me so far out that I was out for the rest of the movie because I was very upset by this visual.
And what I was not a fan of is it held that shot for a long time, and then it zoomed back out, and we see Judas still on the tree while Jesus is brought back to Pontius Pilate, and like that was not necessary. We did not need to see Judas's death when we've moved on from the narrative. It felt exploitative.
Yeah, I agree. Now, we're back to Pilate. So now that Herod has thrown Jesus out, he's brought back to Pilate, and he asks if, you didn't impress Herod. And Caiaphas says that the only reason that they brought him to the Romans was because the priests can't give the death sentence, and he implores him, saying, you have to crucify him. That's the only way.
This is the song Trial Before Pilate, parenthetical, the 39 lashes.
Yes.
The creepy priests and Pilate's people and Pilate and Jesus and the guards are there. A crowd floods the stone arena where the trial is being held, and at first I thought these were followers there to support Jesus, but no, it is just a mob, and they are calling for Jesus to be crucified. Pilate again questions Jesus. Jesus does not defend himself, and Pilate is confused, and Pilate realizes that Jesus hasn't actually committed any crime.
He says he's insane, but that's not a cause for a death penalty.
Crime. So Pilate says Jesus will be flogged to appease the crowd, hopefully.
There's a lot of shots of the crowd sort of taking this beating, and like it heightens their energy.
Like ecstasy.
Yeah. Herod gets uncomfortable by the end. Mary in the crowd is like yelling out and is pulled to the back of the crowd. The full 39 lashes happen, and Jesus he falls to the ground.
Mm-hmm. And Pilate questions him again. Jesus does not confess to anything, and the crowd is not appeased. They call again for his crucifixion. And Pilate realizes that he has no choice. Like, he either has to crucify Jesus, or this crowd will revolt, and that could potentially overthrow him and the Romans. So Pilate decrees the death sentence as demanded by the priests.
Scream sings, man, that screlt, for this entire last moment of him finally decreeing the crucifixion. Woo!
Yeah, and Pilate up until now has actually, like, I called him a Beatle reject, like, was very light in his vocals, like, very soft, until this moment where I'm like, maybe he'll just, like, that's his style of singing, but no, this actor can really rock screlt as well, and lays it in.
Screlt with the best of them.
Yes. Oh, and then we get my favorite scene.
We pan to Jesus. The back of his robe was ripped open, and he has whip marks, and then he turns around, and the outfit turns into this pure white robe, and then Judas descends on a cross made of light, and he's in an all-white jumpsuit with floor-length fringe. It's
incredible.
Crazy town.
And he sings the song Superstar, and he is very quickly joined by go-go dancer angels.
Yeah, they have like white wigs and feathery sleeves and open-legged pants. And the whole message of the song is Judas asks, why did Jesus choose the time that he did for his message? He says that he should have come in the present, the 1970s, where there's mass communication.
Yeah. Interlaid with the end of this song, as like the tempo picks up towards the end, we do see Jesus walking, carrying the cross with his crown of thorns, surrounded by guards and a few crying disciples in fringe vests, including Mary and two other guys. Suddenly, the music cuts out, and Jesus is tied to the cross and nailed to it.
And he has his final lines where he asks God to forgive them. He asks why God has forgotten him. And it feels like, I mean, we all know how the story ends, but it felt just like so abrupt.
In his final moments, Jesus calls out for God, asks why he's forgotten him, and says what are famously known as some of Jesus's final words. It is in biblical texts, like what his final moments and phrases were. I didn't write down the quotes, but I believe those are direct quotes from whatever Bible this screenplay was taken from. And Jesus dies on the cross. The guards leave. We then see the actors that played Pilate and Herod climbing back onto the bus. They are back in their 1970s bell-bottoms clothes. And
everyone's out of costume.
We see all the ensemble members. And the only other actors that seem to notice that the Jesus actor isn't there are Pilate, Mary, and Judas. And they look back over their shoulders at the crucifix.
And they drive away.
Yeah, while they drive away. And an instrumental of the Gethsemane song plays as they drive away without him.
We just see a final shot of a shepherd and some sheep and an empty cross at sunset.
Yeah, the cross is empty when they look back. That shepherd is a goof.
I know!
He wasn't supposed to walk in front, but they liked it so much. They're like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of full circle. We're going to keep that.
What'd you think of this movie, Anna?
I don't want to be overly blasphemous. I'm not here to criticize the plot. I feel no, ability to come at it from that angle, having, really no background and knowledge, truly, of the story. I am here to give thoughts and opinions on the things that I feel I have any kind of knowledge on, which are the acting and the film making of it. What did you think?
I didn't quite understand what they were trying to do with this musical, because obviously they weren't doing a direct recreation of the story in the Bible. They took liberties, there's direct anachronisms. And so I left it confused as to why they were telling the story this way and what they were trying to get out of it.
I can speak to this a little bit, and I think you will too later with your dramaturgy. Obviously, this is an adaptation of the stage musical, and I know the intent of that musical was to take the story of Jesus's trial and crucifixion from the point of view of Judas.
Yeah, it's just...
I think there were ways to make the point of view clearer.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Anyway, shall we begin?
Dramaturgy report! Dramaturgy report! All right. This film was directed by Norman Jewison. He is a Canadian film director, producer, screenwriter, and founder of the Canadian Film Centre. Directed so many feature films. A cool thing is that he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Director 3 separate times in 3 different decades.
Oh!
He was nominated for In the Heat of the Night in 1967, nominated for Fiddler on the Roof in 1971, and my favorite, Moonstruck from 1987.
R.I.P. Olympia Dukakis.
He's made a point in his career to address controversial and complicated subjects and make them accessible to mainstream audiences. Like, that has been a focal point of his career. This cinematographer, oh man, okay. The cinematographer of this film is Douglas Slocombe. His full God-given name is Ralph Douglas Vladimir Slocombe, and he was incredible. He was a British cinematographer. This motherfucker is so cool. He graduated with a degree in mathematics. He died in the early 90s. He was 103 in the early 90s.
Got it.
He wanted to be a photojournalist when he was younger. In his 20s, he documented Germany's 1939, so he was in his 20s in 1939, Germany's invasion of Poland as a newsreel cameraman. He was in Warsaw on September 1st, 1939, when it was attacked by Germany. He escaped on a train, but his train was machine gunned down, and he escaped the train and bought a horse from a Polish farm and returned to London via Latvia and Stockholm eventually. Anyway, that was in his 20s. Wow. After the war, he became the house cinematographer for Ealing Studios. So he was the cinematographer of many classic comedies in the late 40s. He won the British Society of Cinematographers Award 5 times. Roger Ebert particularly praised his work on this film, saying it achieved a color range that glows with life and somehow doesn't make a desert look barren.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is in the 80s, the 1980s, he had like this huge career. He worked with Steven Spielberg on the first 3 Indiana Jones films.
Nice.
He was 75 at the time of the last film.
Wow.
But he's quoted in 1989 as saying, like, there's an excitement in doing action movies. I probably enjoy them on some, like, Boy Scout level. That was a lot.
Lovely.
But this guy lived a big life, and I wanted to talk about all of it.
Yeah. For the screenplay, it was written by the director, Norman Jewison, and a gentleman named Melvin Bragg. So you've already discussed Norman, but Melvin Bragg is a literal baron. He is the Lord Bragg of Wigton, which sounds like a Disney villain. So he's...
Weaselton.
Yes, Weaselton. He is an English broadcaster, author, and parliamentarian. He's best known for his work as an editor and presenter of the South Bank Show and for the BBC Radio 4 documentary series In Our Time. This movie was his foray into writing movies, but he couldn't transfer it into anything, so he moved back to radio and TV. Now, because the only script is the music and lyrics, we don't have a writer for the original musical, we just have the music and lyrics. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the original stage production. So, Jesus Christ Superstar was a 1970 rock opera, and it's interesting that the movie came so quickly after the stage production, whereas with Chicago or Dreamgirls, it took obviously decades after it had closed before they brought it back to film. So the music was by Andrew Lloyd Webber and the lyrics were by Tim Rice. Now, originally they weren't able to get backing for the stage production, so they released it as a concept album. And the success of that album led to the onstage debut on Broadway in 1971. Now, obviously, Andrew Lloyd Webber, as we know, his notable works, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Evita, Cats,
Never heard
Phantom
of
of the
him.
Opera, School of Rock. Oh man, no clue. But I want to talk about Sir Timothy Rice. So he is an English lyricist and author. He's best known for his collaborations with Andrew Lloyd Webber. So he also worked on Joseph and Evita. He also wrote the musical Chess, and he worked with Disney on Aladdin, The Lion King, and the stage adaptation of The Beauty and the Beast.
Ooh!
I know! He also wrote the musical Aida, and, Anna, this is for you, he wrote the lyrics for The Road to El Dorado.
On
I
the
know!
railway blaze! Oh,
And as a fun fact, he is one of only 16 artists to have an EGOT. So, Tim Rice, he won 3 Academy Awards for Best Original Song each time. In 93 for A Whole New World from Aladdin, in 95 for Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King, and in 97 for You Must Love Me from the movie Evita. He won 5 Grammy Awards for several different things. Evita, A Whole New World. He won 3 Grammys in 93, all for Aladdin. He got 3 Tony Awards, 2 for Evita, 1 for Aida, and then he just recently got the Emmy in 2018 for that live special, Jesus Christ Superstar Live in Concert.
yes!
So he just recently got his EGOT. It's very exciting.
Yay!
I know!
Something good came out of that production.
I know. So to talk a little bit about how they wrote this music. So in 1969, the two of them wrote a song for the Eurovision Song Contest called Try It and See, which did not get selected. And so they rewrote the lyrics and it became King Herod's song.
Yeah, that song?
That's the one! So, as I said, originally they had to just produce it as an album because they couldn't get it created for stage. So in July 1971, the first authorized American concert of it took place in front of an audience of 13,000 people in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There were a lot of unauthorized productions going around that they had to shut down, and eventually the Broadway musical opened in 1971. It was directed by Tom O'Horgan at the Mark Hellinger Theater, and it starred Ben Vereen as Judas. Vereen, known mostly for winning a Tony for Pippin, he was also nominated for a Tony for his performance as Judas. Now, he got sick halfway through the performance, and he ended up having to sort of share the role with his understudy, and they sort of took turns playing it. So the show closed after 711 performances. It was nominated for 5 Tonys, but didn't win anything. So, for the movie, the actors and the casting. The cast consisted mostly of actors from the Broadway show, which is nice because especially nowadays it's rarely people from Broadway that they bring in. So, Ted Neeley and Carl Anderson, who were Jesus and Judas respectively, they were both the understudies for the roles on Broadway.
Yeah.
So, the person that Ben Vereen ended up sharing his role with was Carl Anderson. The guy who played Pontius Pilate, the woman who played Mary Magdalene, and the gentleman who played Caiaphas, they were all the Broadway actors. And a few of them had also appeared in the concept album as their characters. So the producers weren't originally going to go with Ted Neeley, the gentleman who played Jesus. They were looking for a couple of other people. They considered Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees and David Cassidy. Also, apparently, 17-year-old John Travolta auditioned for the role, and he obviously...
John Travolta!
I know! No, he didn't get the part, obviously, but the producer really, really liked him, and 3 years later, they cast him in Saturday Night Fever, which is kind of cool. One interesting note, since most people were from the Broadway show, with the exception of the guy who played Pilate and the guy who played King Herod, for everyone else, it was their first time on camera. So it ended up being a huge learning process about how to adjust their stage level performance, which, you know, classically is a lot bigger, has to be a lot bigger, a lot broader so that it can be seen into something that fits within a camera.
For reception, this film grossed $24.5 million at the box office. It earned North American rentals off TBD of $10.8 million in 1973 against a budget of only $3.5 million. It has a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep, that tracks.
Critics were mixed. However, the Pope loved this. This is Pope Paul the Sixth.
The new Pope?
No, this is Pope Paul the Sixth. This is
no, so not the current Pope.
The current Pope is not the same Pope that we had in 1973. He openly loved what he saw. He's quoted as saying, "Mr. Jewison, not only do I appreciate your beautiful rock opera film, I believe it will bring more people around the world to Christianity than anything ever has before." Pope approved.
Pope approved.
Needless to say, this film was criticized by lots of religious groups. All right, awards. This film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Adapted Score. It did not win. It was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture. It did not win. Ted Neeley and Carl Anderson were nominated for Golden Globes. They lost. Yvonne Elliman, who played Mary Magdalene, was nominated. She lost. Douglas Slocum did win for Best Cinematography at the British Society of Cinematographers. My favorite one is, it's still a pretty popular film, and it won a 2012 Huffington Post competition for Best Jesus Movie.
That's really funny.
Sequels and adaptations, there was a 2000 film version that was made for video. I guess that means like just for TV.
Yeah.
In 2013, a 40th anniversary Blu-ray edition of the film was released. In 2015, Neeley announced an upcoming release of a documentary about the making of the film and a reunion. And then, obviously, as I've said many, many times, there was a 2018 Jesus Christ Superstar Live in Concert starring John Legend, Sarah Bareilles, Alice Cooper, and it was released Easter Sunday on NBC. We should have done this for our Easter episode.
Maybe.
We're like a couple weeks late.
Foolish.
This musical is done all over the world, frequently in arena tours as well as traditional theaters. I'm going to put this in the show notes because I was looking up trying to find clips of Brandon Victor Dixon's performance, and there are several compilations. Because this is frequently done in arenas, there's a lot more footage of different international productions and different national tours than there would be of Broadway or regional theater performances. So there are several comparison song clips of like different performers as different Judases singing the same part of a song over and over and over again from different productions. And I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some singing.
I thought that Judas's voice was incredible. I'm not the biggest fan of screlting falsetto. It's not my favorite sound. It like hurts my vocal cords just to listen to it, and I know they're doing it healthily. They had to have to like get through that, but it's still, you know, my hair stands on end a little bit. It's obvious that they were all very talented.
I agree. In terms of dancing, we only had a couple dance breaks. We had King Herod's dance break, and we had the Simon the Zealot's dance break.
Yeah.
They loved their freeze frames in this movie.
Oh man, did they? It was really energetic dancing, though. We mentioned that earlier, where it's not like the moves, especially in the Zealot dance, they weren't complicated dance moves, but they were just high energy, and these people were going for it, and I always appreciate someone who goes for it. So
other than those two numbers, the only other choreography was frequently the Jesus's disciples, the angels dance. I'll give the angels some dancing points.
The angels danced, the go-go dancers. Yeah.
a lot of like community theater, extended arms, movements, and like crowding around Jesus. I won't call that dancing, but I will call that choreography.
Movement.
I don't have any specific gripes other than like this film is very dated and I like wish the acting was better.
I have a question that might clarify my gripe.
Okay.
So in the 2018 version, was it a play within a play? Or was it just like the story?
There was no play within a play aspect. Like the show started and we were in Jerusalem in the world of the play.
Got it. Okay. So I think that's my biggest gripe was that they decided to put this, and from what I can tell, that is not the setup of the stage musical. Now, never having seen it, but from what I can tell from my research online, my biggest gripe was that because they added this extra layer of removal and we didn't know anything about the actors that were in this, I didn't care. I didn't care about anything that was happening because they set up a scenario in which we are presented with actors that we know nothing about that then presented a play as opposed to just presenting the play. It added one extra layer of removal that just ended up removing me caring about the story.
And I did not understand the necessity. If there was a message in the layer, I missed it.
Yeah, so it just felt like a complication that didn't add anything. In fact, it sort of took things away from it. So that was my big gripe. Anna, do you have any fun facts?
Wait, we skipped moment of joy. Did you have a moment of joy?
I guess my moment of joy would be the Herod dance scene. It was very silly. It felt like it didn't belong at all, but like if you just cut it out of the movie and out of the context, the dancing was very fun and silly. The costumes were like drag-esque, and Herod was delightfully campy. So
I hadn't included this as my moment of joy, but I'm absolutely going to claim it as my moment of joy. In my research, I came across an Amazon review for this movie.
Oh, good.
And it is scathing. It's from 2004. It's 1 out of 5 stars. The subject is superstar, more like bench warmer. And it is scathing. It goes
That's
like,
so funny.
Ted Neeley should be crucified literally for being the worst Jesus in any film. He says, I realize my review was just addressing the acting. What about the plot, you ask? There was not one. As a Christian, I have never hated a Bible story, but what they have done to the story of Jesus' life has certainly turned the greatest story ever into a sham. I would rather go blind than watch this again.
Oh my god.
Oh. I mean, it's an Amazon review. It doesn't mean anything. This is just one angry person, but
man.
My fun fact was that the actor that played Judas was genuinely surprised by the fighter jets screaming overhead.
That's so funny.
Ted Neeley, who played Jesus, was performing in the musical Tommy when the director was casting the film, and Ted Neeley was unable to go to the audition because he was doing Tommy. So Ted Neeley called the director's agent and asked if the director would come attend a performance of Tommy to see him perform. So Norman Jewison drove to Los Angeles from Palm Springs and attended a performance, and Ted Neeley had gotten injured the day before and did not perform in that performance. Got cast anyway. That's it. That was my fun fact.
Excellent. So in the scene where Pilate first meets Jesus, everything's sort of in this like rocky canyon, and the guy who played Pilate had really hard time climbing to the spot that they wanted him to stand on, and because his shoes were like really poorly fitted, and so a grip just threw the actor over his shoulder and carried him up the hill and put him in his place.
God bless Grip.
Truly, just, heroes all around. Do you have anything you would like our listeners to look up?
That compilation video of all the different Judases singing one lyric. Okay, thank you for listening.
Indeed.
This was the 1973 Jesus Christ Superstar.
We have been 5678, a movie musical podcast.
If you liked what you heard, leave us a review, leave us some stars on whatever podcast streaming platform you are listening to with your ear holes. And Follow us on social media for teasers of upcoming episodes and fun dramaturgical facts. New episodes come out every 2 weeks.
If you would like to email us, you can reach us at 5678, a movie musical podcast at gmail.com.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5678.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.